Hey y'all, Andrew here, and today I have for you a practical guide to drinking outside and other legal do's and don'ts when it comes to drinking in New Orleans. New Orleans famously has fewer rules than most of the US, but there aren't no rules. We actually do have laws, several of them. So what are the rules? What's the law, and what actually happens? Disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. Let's go. First, geography. Some of what I'm going to tell you is state law, and some of it is local law. And this is important because the local laws only apply in the city of New Orleans, which is just one part of the New Orleans metro area. If you're a visitor, chances are you'll spend most of your time in the city. Most things like the French Quarter, the Garden District, the visitors have heard of are inside of New Orleans. But the airport is outside of New Orleans, going on a swamp tour will take you outside of New Orleans, and you may even decide to stay at a hotel outside of New Orleans. And when you leave the city, local laws change. All that to say, the local laws in this video are just about New Orleans. And if you want to know what's legal or not in other places, you should ask people in those places, preferably people who work in bars. Or if you'd like to figure it out for yourself, good on you. I'll just suggest not trying to use an AI or a search engine to figure those things out. There's too much bad information online for those to work well. I've got a really reliable tool linked in the description. Let's start with the most famous thing you can do here, drinking in public. You can drink outside, in the fresh air. It is one part blessed freedom and one part slippery slope, and it's a big reason why people visit us. This isn't so much a law as the absence of a law. In most of the US, wherever you're standing, you're covered by either a state or local law against drinking in public. Louisiana is one of the few states that doesn't have one. And some cities in Louisiana do, but New Orleans doesn't. So it's legal to drink in public here, anywhere, with a few limitations, which we'll get into. And hey, if you're curious why the US is like this, I am down for that nerdy deep dive. That's another video, which we've also got. Check it out when you're done with this one. Outside of New Orleans, local public drinking laws in Louisiana are a really mixed bag. Even in the New Orleans suburbs, it's legal to drink outside in some places, but not everywhere. So this is where you want to talk to people who know their stuff, or consult that tool in the description. So that's a law we don't have. On to the laws we do have. I'm going to share 3 pieces of local New Orleans law that you should know. First up is the law that is the most confusing to read about online. If you just do a web search for like New Orleans open container law, you're going to find a lot of pages that say it is only legal to drink outside in the French Quarter, which is not true. And the law they cite is an open container law, but let's look at it. It shall be unlawful for any person to carry or drink from any opened glass container in or on any public street, sidewalk, park, or public right-of-way in, the language gets complicated here, but basically the French Quarter. So this is a law about the French Quarter, and we do have the phrase opened container, but what we don't have in here anywhere is the word alcohol. This is a law about garbage, and specifically about dangerous garbage, broken glass. The Quarter learned a long time ago that drunk people plus glass bottles is a recipe for disaster. And so we wrote a law that, as written, says you can't even drink water out of a glass bottle in the Quarter. In practice, this rule is a bit more chill. The rule as usually practiced is, sure, drink outside in the Quarter, but if it's alcohol, avoid glasses or glass bottles and stick to go cups. This is an easy rule to follow. No bartender in the Quarter is going to be weirded out if you ask for your drink to go. Most of them serve drinks that way by default. The only time you need to be on your toes is if you, say, buy a bottle from a convenience store and pop the top in public. Then a cop might have a conversation with you. And even then, probably just to explain how things work. The city is not trying to make money off of people through a million little open container violations. We do that with parking tickets. This law only applies to the French Quarter, so once you leave the Quarter, you are free to drink your champagne straight from the bottle, usually. Law number 2. Let's elaborate on that usually. The limit on glass gets extended at certain times. Another part of the same law says not to carry an open glass container within a block of a Mardi Gras parade, either while the parade is happening or for 2 hours before or after. We have a lot of laws about Mardi Gras. Enforcement with this one is complicated, but it's a good rule. Parades are chaos. People drop things, stuff gets knocked out of your hand. And broken glass is especially dangerous at parades. There are so many kids and so many drunk people, aka kids. Plus, broken glass is impossible to clean up. So for weeks afterwards, it gets stuck in people's shoes and car tires and bike tires and the paws of animals. So please, think of the animals. And here's how you do it. If you go to a parade, plan to bring your own drinks in non-glass containers and take your garbage with you when you leave. You can pack them in cans, have them ready whenever you want them, and stash the empties as you go. Also, if you're drinking at a parade, pace yourself. You're going to need your hand-eye coordination. Law number 3 is our local law against public drunkenness. This one says that people aren't supposed to appear in public intoxicated enough that they may endanger themselves or other persons or property. A lot of room there for interpretation. And with public intoxication, we're actually getting into state law too. Louisiana's law on disturbing the peace includes appearing intoxicated in public and various things that drunk people are just likelier to do, like shouting offensive things at someone in public or, in the words of the law, engaging in a fistic encounter. These laws get enforced a lot, on locals and on tourists. And at the same time, plenty of people go around New Orleans drunk without getting fined or arrested for it. And there's not a clear-cut way to say who gets the one and who gets the other, except to say that that decision is in the hands of police. So 1, don't antagonize police. But 2, there are other ways to try to stay in the sweet spot. And I can't give you legal advice, so I'll just phrase it as personal advice. Try to be cool. Don't yell offensive things at people or get into a fistic encounter or endanger persons or property. These are great things to avoid whether you're drinking or not. And sometimes avoiding those things just means drinking less. People come to New Orleans sometimes with the idea that binge drinking is the goal or like the right local way to do things. And that's just not true. Like, if you're on Bourbon Street and a shot girl tries to mama bird something purple into your mouth, that is not a local culture moment. You're allowed to say no. What is a local culture moment is the next morning over breakfast when you tell your friends the story of how you escaped from that shot girl. And for that to happen, you gotta be sober enough to remember it. And hey, sometimes in the midst of all the Bourbon Street chaos, some people find it hard to hold themselves back. If that's you, you don't have to go to Bourbon Street to have a good time here. There's so much else to do. Oh, and one last thing while we're talking about public drunkenness arrests. Try to wait for a bathroom. So, review. No open glass containers in the quarter or along parade routes, and watch out for public drunkenness laws. Those are the big ones. There are other laws as well. You're not supposed to drink or eat on public transit, like the streetcar. You're not supposed to bring alcohol into certain parks, which are marked with signs. Bars aren't supposed to serve drinks to clearly intoxicated people, and they're also not supposed to let you drink in their parking lots, except during parade season. We even have a local law that says business owners anywhere in town aren't supposed to let their customers leave their premises carrying an open glass or metal container of anything, but as far as I know, that one is not enforced. If you are a legal professional in New Orleans and you know better, let me know in the comments. Next, state law. Here I'm going to share with you just one law, but it's a law with a few parts. Louisiana, like every state, has a law against drinking in a moving motor vehicle, but that law has a few exceptions, and I want to tell you about 3 of them. Exception number 1, you can drink in a moving vehicle if that vehicle is a Mardi Gras float. It is a time-honored tradition for float riders to drink themselves so silly that they need to be physically anchored to the float for their own safety while they throw heavy things at the rest of us.
Maybe more relevant to most of us is exception number 2. You can drink as a passenger in a vehicle as long as you have hired a professional driver to get you from place to place. This actually isn't unusual. A lot of states do it. But where in other states people tend to associate it with drinking champagne in a limousine, here for some reason the expectation is more drinking beer in a cab.
And it is technically legal to drink in a cab, but it's not a thing you should assume you can do. Rideshare services have their own rules against passengers drinking, and cab companies or even just individual drivers can and often will refuse you service. Please don't pressure drivers to let you drink in their car. Their job might be on the line. If drinking in a moving vehicle is on your Freedom Bingo board, book a limo, or a private tour, or a party bus. Finally, there is exception number 3, which is Louisiana's drive-through daiquiri law. Look all up and down Bourbon Street and you'll see lots of places selling frozen daiquiris in every color of the rainbow with 5 kinds of liquor. And as much as Bourbon Street isn't a thing many locals do, daiquiris are. And Louisiana law makes special accommodations for daiquiris. You can legally get one at a drive-thru and have it in your car as long as you don't drink any of it, lift off the lid, or put in a straw until you get out of the car. Where that law came from and where those drinks came from is a whole story which deserves its own video, and I'll make it soon. In the meantime, you are now prepared, so much more prepared than most visitors ever get, to drink knowledgeably in New Orleans. And if you'd like to be so much more knowledgeable, I have another video that goes way more into why it's legal to drink outside in New Orleans, as well as why it isn't legal to drink outside in most of the US, and the one man who's behind most of the weirder drinking laws in Louisiana. Pour yourself something, it's a story. Cheers, y'all. See you in the next one.